I want to show you my soldering iron tip collection and a little bit about how each of these works. This is the micro soldering iron pen. I'm going to call it a pen because I have a desoldering gun here and it looks like a gun with a trigger. So the pen is an FM2032 and it'll fit into the 981 or the FM206. It has a hole in here which is keyed. And this is one of the small pencil tips or micro tips that you can get with it. This tip is called a T30I. It's a very, very, very small tip. I'm going to say that it's probably down to about 0.5 millimeter in diameter, maybe even smaller. Well, it comes to a point, but the part before the point is about 1 millimeter. This is keyed also. You can see that there are some pins in here for contacts for measuring temperature. There's one here and one on the other side. One must be temperature and one must be the contact for the heat. Basically, you can just insert that in the right order to match the key and it fits right in. Hakko gives you a small rubber pad that you can use to remove these with while they're hot. This here is more common FM2027. You see these on a lot of the Hakko soldering iron stations. And to remove this tip, you press these two buttons on each side of the holder, pull it out, and it pulls it with the grip. So now, while this is hot, you can insert this into your soldering iron stand, grab the next tip, insert that with a nice click, and you're ready for the next soldering. These tips are easily removed from their holders just by pulling them out. So then you have the holder and then you have the tip. I have a wide variety of tips here. This is called a T15IL. It's a very, very fine point. This one is even smaller. This is called a T15ILS, very small tip. It comes to a point almost as sharp as the 2032. This is a, I think what you would refer to as a wedge. It's beveled on both sides. This is a T15-1603. This is also a wedge, but it's a little bit wider. It's a T15D12. Try to show you the diameter of the tip. This looks like it's about 1 millimeter wide, and so forth and so on. So there are several different varieties. My go-to tip is this one here, which is called a T15BC15. And it's a typical wedge, or flat on one side and pointed on the other. And this guy is about 1.5 millimeters in diameter. It heats up very fast. They all do. And as you can see, the end here, this must be, how do I do this? The heating element and the temperature contacts here. They are about 6 inches long, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 6¼ inches. This is a 6-inch ruler. It looks like maybe 6¼ a little bit less. And they are 1/4 inch in diameter. They seem very durable. I've never had an issue with any of these. I've had this soldering station for about 3 years. And I've never had a tip go bad or had any issues with it whatsoever. And just briefly, these are the desoldering tips. And again, Hakko has made it very easy to remove these using a special tool that, since this is cold, I can easily pull it out just by pressing the button. So here you have the tip with the temperature probe. It has the nozzle for the air vacuum. This is a little filter assembly that can pop out, and this trigger assembly can be removed altogether, and it becomes a desoldering pen. So you can just press it this way. I prefer to use it with the grip so I can hold something that just gives me a little better accuracy. On this side here, I have the hot air iron, and this has two connectors, one for the electrical connection and the hot air hose coming out of it. And again, this works like the other tips. These just loosen the collet here, push your hot iron tip in, tighten it back down, and there's a button here to press for expelling the hot air. The tip, again, looks like the other tips, except that it has a hole in the back for the hot air, but it looks like a contact and a temperature sensor and a very small opening. You can get these in different diameter openings, but I really like these. They're easy to use, they're reliable, they heat up instantaneously. By the time I leave my base, it's already hot and ready to go. So there you have it. The 2032 and the 2027 are compatible with the 951, so you shouldn't have any issue with those. The 2027 uses all T15 tips. So if you see those online somewhere, that's what you're really looking for those. The 2032 uses the T30 tips. They're much shorter. These are, looks like about 2 3/4 inches long, and they're a little pricey, but you won't need many. 1 or 2 will get you through. Okay, I hope that was helpful.